What exactly is going on with AMPHOREUS? Where do the powers come from? What is March 7th's significance in all of this? These are all the questions that I want to tackle before version 3.2 comes out, and I think I might have some answers. Shout out to theorist Rainthority, George_EXP, and Nova Impact for all raising excellent points for this video. I have made sure to leave the videos in the description because I gained so much from them. Now, before we get back into my actual theorizing, I just want to put out my initial idea out there. This wasn't influenced by anyone else, it was just my brain process from playing the story quests themselves. At first, I believed the world of AMPHOREUS was some type of test planet, that it was created by a Genius Society member who was also an emanator. They used this world to simulate civilization that was similar to their own, with Titans resembling Ions and Chrysos heirs resembling emanators. As expected, this is pretty far-fetched, but it was my initial thoughts after finishing the quest. It also gave me a reason to connect NX's role and his discoveries to the current plot. If he truly follows erudition, like I believe he does, and the Genius Society members all follow the erudition, it makes sense why he cracked the code before anyone else. It takes a genius to know one. But moving past that, I'll be giving my newer and more confident ideas about AMPHOREUS' story. After doing my own digging and some help from my past self, I confidently believe that the third heavily influencing Ion is Terminus, the Finality. I've seen a bit of discourse whether Terminus, Enigmata, or perhaps someone else we aren't thinking of is at hand here, but I've got my points on Finality. In fact, I mentioned this multiple times through my own playthroughs while getting stumped by Casterus. However, I think a lot of people glossed over how perfectly Finality fits in the current theory floating around, which, if you're not already up to speed, it's the theory that AMPHOREUS is trapped in a time loop because Fuli is always recreating the world. The world was actually destroyed years ago, and we're only seeing the power of remembrance at work by reforming these memories, which inevitably have the same tragic fate. A question I saw popping up a lot was, well, who created the prophecy? It wasn't the Titans, it wasn't the people, so where did it come from? People got so close, and I'm kind of shocked that nobody really put the pieces together. Terminus is the one who created the prophecy for AMPHOREUS. In fact, right in its description, it says that they travel from the future. They appear at the moment of finality, bringing prophecies of the future. They carry an apparition that travels across the universe while murmuring a prophecy that is destined to be filled. Terminus appeared to AMPHOREUS once their world was at the brink of destruction. Once the Titans of Calamity descended and wreaked pain and havoc upon the world, they came in order to give AMPHOREUS a proper final, a guide to break the loop, the prophecy. This is exactly why no matter how many times Fuli loops the world, or Noose states that the outcome is already predetermined, the Flame Chase journey still lives on with a chance of succeeding. This prophecy has not been fulfilled yet. In fact, it may have been centuries of AMPHOREUS going through this loop, waiting for someone to break the chain. But this chain never breaks, because in the end, the Chrysos heirs always lose. But if this prophecy is destined to be filled, then that means AMPHOREUS will never truly see an end to this loop until something else changes. That brings us to the hero who will change it all. Before I even begin this, I have to give a lot of credit to George_EXP. Their video basically blew my mind. March has always had hints and ties to remembrance for a very, very long time, and of course a few clues to AMPHOREUS. But I never considered her actually coming from AMPHOREUS itself. or being an emanator of remembrance. I really do think these theories tie together nicely, from Orynyx finding heavy meaning in her camera, to calling her mother, as if they have a deep connection to her. Many other memo keepers, including Black Swan, already know that March 7th's memory hold deep weight. I think this is where the prophecy really kicks in. There will be only one left standing. I think Hoyo really wants us to put the ticket on Finon, being the hero of everyone here. It makes sense, doesn't it? From him being in the main promotions, called the Deliverer by Mighty, or the Savior of the People, to traveling alongside his companions with the Flame Chase journey. It's obvious that he's gonna save everyone, right? He's going to put everything back together. Nope. I'm not buying it at all. It's all too easy. It's too obvious. In fact, I don't think Finon will live up to his Deliverer title at all. I think he's going to delve the deeper path, one that reflects the hardship in his heart and the torment in his mind. Let's not forget that Finon always believed he was going to be the one to inherit the Strife core flame, but facing those nightmares, he couldn't even obtain it successfully. He's still stuck in that emotional turmoil that he just can't break free from, which is why I think he's the perfect vessel to be the Flame Reaver, another identity that often brings up points of discussion. I mean, if Finon ends up feeling utterly incapable while losing all his friends around him, he's in a pretty good place to turn dark. There's also the strong storytelling of Mighty telling Finon his weak point. In the fight scenes, we see the Flame Reaver going straight for his back with no hesitance. Something else I also noticed while rewatching the very first Nameless Faces trailer was the suspicious looking sword behind Mighty's back. It's the same sword that the Flame Reaver carries, with the half sun and the crescent moon. The eclipse. It's almost as if the Flame Reaver just knows Mighty's weak spots personally. But back on topic, if Finon ends up being the big bad, then who's the hero here? Well, in short, it's March 7th, one of the missing Chrysos heirs and an emanator of remembrance. Of course, it's not just March 7th. I believe the Trailblazer affects this too, since after 3.1, they decided to carry Orynyx's core flame and join the Chrysos heirs themselves. I think, with the teamwork of these two combined, AMPHOREUS' prophecy will be fulfilled. The reason why March 7th left in the first place was because of the never-ending loop of destruction on AMPHOREUS. So what if I propose something a little out there? Something a little crazy, but could make a lot of sense. Which is Finon being the one who sent away March 7th. Not this Finon, but the Flame Reaver Finon. A different Finon, who was in cycles centuries ago. I think there's a possibility that in one of these cycles, the one we call March 7th, was actually a Cyrene. I mean, that can explain their resemblance to each other and give a pretty valid reason for why March 7th was gone in the first place. It can also explain why Cyrene has been absent from everything as well. Why Mem, who also seems to be Cyrene herself, at least in this current loop, also reminds us of March 7th, because she is March 7th. Or rather, March 7th is a Cyrene who escaped AMPHOREUS. After her friends and loved ones realized everything would be a painful loop, they desperately looked for a way to break it, to change things. So Finon did the only thing he could think of, sending their most powerful Chrysos heir far away into the universe, so that maybe one day this cycle could come to an end. And of course, this would hurt Finon deeply. Cyrene, his closest friend, would be gone, and while he's left all alone. But this loneliness twists into something darker. Despair, pain, suffering. And that's exactly why the Flame Chase journey never ended there. why the loop never ceased to exist again. Finon never completed the quest, and he stopped trying to chase after some prophecy. All it did was hurt people. All it did was take his loved ones away. So he decided that the heroes should never go on this journey to begin with, therefore turning him into the anguish-filled memory of Flame Reaver that we encountered in the quest. These are just a few loose thoughts that don't actually have any substance from what I believe, but I've thought about them before and there's no harm in just shoving them in here. So we'll go rapid fire. Number 1, the way two Finons can actually exist at once is similar to what happened in Sunday Epinicone. They're just separated parts of the same person. Number 2, all the Titans correspond to some type of ion or ion power. Number 3, the world is a simulation rather than a time loop. Number 4, the Chrysos heirs are all just emanators. Number 5, the world is an experiment being ran by a genius. Number 6, the hero will be Trailblazer, not actually March 7th. Number 7, March 7th is literally just a Titan. I think that one's the funniest. But anyway, I had a lot of fun doing this. I haven't theorized anything in so long. It just felt nice to dive back into lore, to get more perspectives on things, and I really loved doing this. You know, I think my theory went in a cool direction. I feel like it's a direction that Hoyo would go in. Although I do also think the theory that there's a lot more time shenanigans going on instead of just, you know, March 7th being sent away. And it's actually more so about, you know, we're going through a past loop. Flame Reaver is Finon in the current state, and like he's trying to get everyone because he just wants this thing to stop, or maybe he just wants to try and find a way to break out of the time loop. But whatever the case, I hope I offered something cool and something new and something exciting. I haven't really seen anyone propose that March 7th was actually Cyrene. It probably sounds like a stretch, but I just think narratively that would be a very impactful way to go. I could see how you're doing it, especially with Finon not actually saving everybody. I just don't think he will. It's not that I don't want him to. I love him, but you know, he's just in such a vulnerable state right now. I really, really don't think he can do anything. So, you know, whether it's March 7th, whether it's Trailblazer, Danong, someone new, Cyrene actually shows up, I'm very excited to see how this quest is going to go out. I actually should have a video on it tomorrow, because I'll be free tomorrow, so that'll be very, very fun. I hope you all enjoy. See you in the next one.